What's up guys, welcome back to the MIC. In today's video, I'm gonna be comparing Mafia with GTA 3 and basically just be sharing my thoughts on which game I believe, in my opinion, is better. So let's get into it. I'd also like to just make a quick mention when talking about the sales of the games and how many copies they sold. I will be basing that off of the original games. The gameplay and aspects such as fighting, gameplay mechanics, that will be for the definitive edition for the games, as I couldn't really find the original versions. But yeah, sales, that's going to be for the original games, whereas gameplay and fighting mechanics and all that is going to be for the definitive edition. So let's not waste any time, let's get into the video. Now, getting into the sales for these games, now, Mafia by August 2007 sold about over 2 million copies, which is pretty good. This was, I believe, the first Mafia game, whereas GTA 3, sold about over 14 million copies, which was just amazing. And as you can see, GTA 3 did do better than Mafia, but it's also something to take in mind that the GTA series was going on before GTA 3. I mean, you had GTA, GTA 2, the arcade games. So it's not like it was the first introduction, whereas Mafia was just starting out, getting to find itself in the gamer player base. So that's just something I want you guys to keep in mind with these sales. And moving on to the intro for the games. Now, I was going to do something where I just talk about the entire story, but GTA 3 does have a lot of missions and I didn't really get to finish it. So in this video, when I'm talking about the story, I'm just going to be talking about the introduction to the game. Now, Mafia 1 introduction is really good, I really liked it. You start off with Tommy, who's just a basic taxi guy, but then gets involved with this crime with his other friends, and not friends, but these new people that he's going to meet and he's eventually going to be friends with as he gets into the Mafia. I think it's a really strong introduction. It's really nice. And with the story for Mafia, it's more like Tommy Angelo basically just explaining to us, the gamers, and the detective how he got into this life of crime. So basically narrating, and then we get to play as him and just revisit his memories and all the things that happened. I think that's really nice, really strong. But GTA 3's introduction is pretty nice as well. We see Claude and a few other criminals break out, and Claude gets betrayed by, which I believe is his girlfriend, and just a really strong introduction as well for GTA 3, as Claude is planning to take revenge on his girlfriend and basically just joining up with these other gangs. You've got the Mafia, the cartel, and basically just joining up with all these people doing different jobs. Now, obviously, with the story wise, it's completely different. GTA 3 story is a more simpler route, whereas Mafia and all the other Mafia games, but Mafia 1 is more narrative driven than gameplay. A lot of cutscenes, a lot of story things to take in. So it is more narrative driven, whereas GTA 3, does that sort of classy style. You go do the mission, get the job done, get paid a lot of money for these really simple missions. But yeah, even though GTA 3's style is a bit more simpler, it is really good. It does have a really nice story. We're meeting these new characters, Salvatore joining the Yakuza and these all different gangs. So yeah, with the introduction, as I said, because this is going to be my, opinion. So if you do disagree, just let me know. It's okay. But for me personally, I have to say, I do prefer Mafia 1's introduction because, I really like narrative stuff as well. And just Tommy explaining to us how he got into this life of crime and we just get to see the journey of it is really nice and satisfying. But GTA 3's introduction was pretty well done as well. Just joining up with these other gangs, meeting new characters. But for me personally, I did prefer Mafia 1's introduction. So I'm going to have to give that to them. Now, moving on to the missions, comparing the missions between GTA 3 and Mafia. Like I said, GTA 3 does a more classy style with its missions. Just go get the job done, get paid. Whereas Mafias are a bit more story-driven and narrative. But yeah, let's just compare the missions for these two games. Now, Mafia's missions is pretty action-packed as well. It's really well, with the classic guns, as it is based in the 1930s. And yeah, I mean, these missions are really good as well. There are a lot of shooting. It's pretty good. Combat is amazing. I really like the gun handling, and it's just really nice. The definitive edition really did a huge improvement off the original game, based on what I saw from the original game on YouTube, but they just really improved it. It's really amazing. I really like the guns, simple, shooting mechanics and all that. It's really nice. So yeah, Mafia's shooting mechanics is really nice, and the missions are pretty fun. But I do prefer GTA 3's missions for this one. So let me just explain. Like I said, GTA 3 does a more simpler route. Get the job done, get paid, and I really like that. I mean, and there's some really fun missions here as well. You got some racing missions. You've got some drop the bomb off, timing missions, and I just really like the variety with this. Whereas Mafia 1, like I said, is a bit more narrative driven. So there are, like, most of the missions are going to be shooting, finding these characters. So yeah, whereas GTA 3, there's a lot of different mixtures of missions. It's not all just shooting. There's a bit of variety. Sometimes you're bombing. And yeah, and I really just like the freedom that you get with GTA 3. I said this a while back with my other videos, talking about I want freedom in GTA 6. But it was really nice to discover this and get to experience this with GTA 3. Just lets you be creative, as Mafia 1 is a bit more narrative driven. So obviously you're not gonna have a lot of space to be creative and just do your own thing with the missions. So for mission wise, I'm gonna have to give that to GTA 3. These missions are just really fun. Lots of variety and lots of way you can just think of and just be creative with. So yeah, missions, I'm going to be giving that to GTA 3. Now, we're going to be getting into a bit of sort of physics and all that type of stuff. So let's get into it. Starting off with the car deformation. Now, obviously, like I said, I'm going to be talking about the definitive edition and with the gameplay and all that. So obviously, as you could see, Mafia's definitive edition did a huge improvement off of the original game. I mean, it's just incredible what they did with this game. The car deformation is really realistic, really nice. You can just see the cribble of the metal and all that good stuff. It's pretty awesome. But I will say, with the car deformation, it is a bit stiff, but that's also due to the type of cars that are in the game, like I said, 1930s. But yeah, car deformation is a bit more realistic with Mafia, and yeah, it's just really nice. It's just that it doesn't really give you a lot of options. Most of the car deformation is going to be in the front and the back, not really much from the sides of the car, whereas GTA 3's car deformation is really well. It's sort of the same as it was in the original game, and yeah, it's really well done. GTA 3's car deformation, you can get busted from the side, the back, glass can break as well. It's just that with GTA 3, it is a lot easier to get the car busted up as it is in Mafia 1. Mafia, you really have to go all crazy and out in order to see some really good car deformation. So I don't know which one you guys prefer. GTA 3's car deformation is really well done. It's just that to some extent, it is pretty easy to get your car busted up unless you're a really good driver. Then yeah, most of the time your car's gonna get busted up, whereas GTA or Mafia's car deformation is a lot more, it's not that easy to get it busted up. It is more realistic on Mafia side, so I am going to have to give car deformation to Mafia, because I mean, it's just really well done. They made a huge improvement off of the original game, whereas GTA 3's definitive edition, car deformation, it is pretty good, but at the same time, they didn't really expand it that much, so I'm going to have to give that to Mafia. Moving on to fire propagation. Now, these games did come out a while ago, 2000s. I think Mafia 1 came out in 2002, whereas GTA 3 2001. So yeah, I have to say there aren't really any fire propagation, so we're just gonna be comparing how the fire looks. Now, with Mafia 1, the fire does look a lot better than GTA 3. But with this case, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I feel like it looks as if the fire is really floating. It's not really spreading around the car. You can see it's on the engine and all that. The fire does look pretty good as well. But with GTA 3's, fire, it is, even though it doesn't look as realistic as Mafia 2, or I mean Mafia 1, it does spread around the car, which I think is pretty realistic as well. I really like that. It's not just on the engine, it's by the tires, inside the car, and all that. So yeah, I mean, it is sort of fire propagation. I mean, the fire is spreading, whereas Mafia, it's only like near the engine. Sometimes it would be around the car, but most of the time it's by the engine. So I'm going to have to give fire propagation to GTA 3. And yeah, I mean, these games are pretty well. I mean, I really enjoyed them. I was going to do something like water physics, but I mean, there aren't really water physics with these games. I mean, they are pretty old. But moving on to combat. Now, GTA 3's combat is pretty good. It's not bad, but it's not that good either. It's really simple, punch and kick. But with Mafia's, fighting mechanics, it is just amazing. There's dodging, different combos. So obviously, I even talked about this with the Mafia video. You guys should go check that out. But yeah, the combat in Mafia is way better than it is in GTA 3. So I'm going to have to give the combat to Mafia. I mean, it's just really good. I mean, I'd even argue the combat in Mafia 1 is a bit better than other Grand Theft Auto games type. But yeah, I mean, it's really good, the combat. There's dodging, punching and all that. Even like takedowns, which I wasn't really expecting. But yeah, I mean, combat, I'm gonna have to give that to Mafia. I mean, they just did amazing with this, man. I mean, they did a really good job with the combat in Mafia. But it's not to say that GTA 3's combat is bad. It's just that Mafia did it a lot better. Well, that reaches our conclusion for this video. I hope you guys really enjoyed it, with comparing these two games. They are one of the older 2000 and, early 2000 games, but I mean, they did a really good job. Mafia is just really amazing, especially the definitive edition. And GTA 3 is pretty well as well. It's pretty good. But when it comes to the end, I have to say with which game I think is better, I'm going to have to give that to Mafia. Now, Mafia just does things really well. I mean, you've got the combat, you've got the car deformation, and then you've got the story and those story missions, and it's just really well. I really like how it's really narrative driven, really Mafia. It's just really amazing. And yeah, I just really prefer this. And I have to say, in my opinion, I do think that Mafia's Definitive Edition is better than GTA 3. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. You guys can agree or disagree if you want in the comments. Share your thoughts and your takes. But that's just what I think. GTA 3 is still a really good game. I really enjoy the missions. It's just that Mafia does a lot of things better than GTA 3 with the narrative, the story, the combat, car deformation, and all that type of stuff, guns. It's just really amazing. But that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. We're at 81 subscribers at filming this video. So if you're not subscribed, please make sure to subscribe so that we can get to 100 subscribers. I'm Dale Meister, and I'll see you guys next time.